Hello and welcome to NARC Live on Wednesday the 29th of December 2021, coming to you live from Norfolk on the east coast of England with Tammy M0TC.
Hello.
And me, David G7ERP. Great to see you. On tonight's show, this is the last show of the year and we announce how much has been raised for East Anglian Children's Home, the NARC's adopted charity for this year. It's a social informal to review Christmas and the New Year. Yes, go on, show us your live, guys. It's not too late to join us by Zoom as well. We'll give you that link in a moment. And we find out, what on earth is this? I thought this would have you foxed. Have we had you foxed? We'll see. But first, way back in April when we held our annual general meeting, we adopted a charity. We asked you as members to nominate charities, and there were two nominated, but the one which you as members decided to elect was the East Anglian Children's Home, or EACH as it's often called, and that was the adopted charity. Now, we've raised, I think, a very good amount, but before we tell you the amount, just tell you how this money was raised. I guess the most high-profile raising of money for this was at the Barford social we ran in early July when we had collection boxes and we didn't charge anybody for anything at Barford, whether you were a trader or visiting or whatever, but we did ask people to donate and quite a bit of money was raised there. Plus John G0MXN, who actually proposed this charity, he ran some garage sales and some other fundraising things at home, and he raised some money for it. We had some extra donations. Often people say we'll put it to the club's charity. And also we made some profits from the sale of those little video cameras. Do you remember what that was way back in, I think, July as well. And we made some money for that. Plus, although we don't make a charge, this is Tammy and me now, Tammy and I don't charge the RSGB for the work that we do for them, which is similar to this, but for several other activities, including their AGM, for example. They like to give the club some money because I guess it would cost them a lot of money to pay professionals for all the equipment and everything that's used. So they gave NARC £250 for our work for their AGM and other events, and we've asked them to, we've put that in with the EACH as well. Anyway, without further ado, we've told you how we've raised the money. Let's tell you and show you how much we have raised. Norfolk Amateur Radio Club, you have raised a staggering, I think, £1,284.82, which could be a record, in fact. I didn't go back far enough, but I think that's great. Actually, people at home clapping as well now.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. So all of you who were anything part of that, whether you bought one of those little cameras, whether you donated a few quid at Barford, or whatever it was, well done. That is a fantastic amount. And although we traditionally announce this at the AGM, we felt that actually with things so difficult for so many charities that since it was unlikely we'd raise any more money now before our AGM, we felt they should have it now. And of course, if we do that, then we should tell you. So well done to all of you. And of course to John as well for suggesting it in the first place. Now, coming the AGM this year, which who knows if it's going to be online or in person, I don't know. Probably nobody really does know. But whatever, of course, we'll be nominating another charity. So although there's several months to go before our AGM, which traditionally is the first Wednesday in April, please be thinking about a charity that you might want to nominate. All the charities that are nominated by various members of Norfolk Amateur Radio Club will be putting to the membership to decide who we're going to raise for money in 2022. But well done again on that amazing amount of money that's raised for each. Now a few other bits and pieces of your news. And John M6JAU watched last week's show, as I hope many of you did as well, with Repair Shop's Mark Stuckey. And he said this week's show mentioned the special batteries used by valve radios to provide low voltage for heaters and high voltages to manipulate the electron flow. He said, my father owned an electrical shop and Eveready, the leading battery manufacturer at the time, ran an annual competition for the best window displays. John says that Dad would photograph his at night because he had to park his camera on a tripod in the middle of the street, which is also known as the A12. This would have been in the 1950s and 1960s. Aren't these fantastic windows? They almost look too good. You know, they look almost too pure, don't they? These are some of his photos that show valve radio batteries. I see some labelled All Dry, Battery Max and Winner and Portable and more. He said Dad loved to make things and I think he won prizes regularly. He did some really good Christmas displays, but we don't have any photos of those. When I worked in his shop, even I did a slot racing Santa sled for the window. Oh. That is fantastic stuff, isn't it? I mean, you think how long that's 50s and 60s, and I'm not sure people put that much effort into the displays now.
No, it's amazing, isn't it?
It really is lovely, yeah. Well, thank you very much for sharing those, John. And of course, we thought that Mark would also be interested, so I've forwarded them to Mark Stuckey as well from the repair shop, who was on our special Christmas special last week. That's some more news. And Mike G4DYC says, I've had some information from Roger Greengrass, G4NRG, who is now EI8KN in Ireland. He thinks that Roger is still a NARC member as well, as far as he knows. He says he's very active with amateur radio and comments as follows. He's now the VHF microwave manager for IRTS, and that's the Irish equivalent of the RSGB. He'll be running the IRTS bonus station EI90 IRTS on 1st of January on the 80 metre contest. And he will be running the UK EICC bonus station EI5G in SSB on the 5th of January. And Roger says, hope to catch you on the air. So thanks very much from Roger EI8KN. aka G4NRG. I think Roger lived just down the road from here, actually, sort of Attleborough way as well. Now, we've also had another email from a former member, or at least someone from a very, very long time ago, and that is Steve, who's W4SLT, but used to be G8OCT. He says, sorry I'm not a club member, but I get your club news via email. I must explain, I lived in Norfolk in the late 60s. 1 year I lived in Swainsthorpe next to my great aunt. My dad was stationed at RAF Sculthorpe in the early 50s. He met my mum in Norwich during that time, and my dad retired from the USAF in 1968 and we stayed in England. I still have cousins living in the Norwich area. Dad always thought a great deal of Norwich, as I always do, a fine city. You have, is that good?
Yeah, that's okay.
You have a great club with vast resources. Keep up the good work, especially in these testing times. I know that you're not doing well this year, but on the ball city. If I ever work, someone from this area always seems to get their attention, he says. 73 and Happy New Year from South Carolina, from Steve W4SLT. I don't always put this PS at the bottom. Honestly, he puts PS, I work on sewing machines.
Who knows?
Nigel 2E0NLK dropped us a note next. It says, the 14th of December was my 60th birthday, and Scott M0BLH arranged for me to do a try-dive on the 20th of December. Scott went through all the safety and got me kitted out once in the pool. Scott got me comfortable in the water, and he got me swimming in the shallow end to start with, and then we went down to deeper and even got to throwing torpedoes at each other. Well, we've got a video of this, so let's have a look, Tammy. I'm watching for the torpedoes.
He's got one.
All in all, a fantastic night and well worth having a go. Thanks to Scott for taking the time to arrange and for doing the video, and hope you all enjoy that at home. And Scott says, I probably won't be able to make the NARC live as I'll be busy working, but please pass on well done to Nigel for doing his try dive. He did very well and had fun at the bottom of the pool. Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now, last week, some strange happenings. As you may know, I was on an outside broadcast, wasn't actually here, but there were some strange things going on. And Tammy wrote a piece for the newsletter. Don't smile like that. It's serious stuff, isn't it?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to just share that picture from CCTV that you
I've got the picture.
Okay. And you've had a couple of letters.
Oh, have I?
Or a couple of emails. Yeah.
Okay. Tammy, from the description and the grainy picture, it is Bugs Bunny's arch enemy, Elmer Fudd, from Nonny Mouse. Unless there is a reward, then it's Colin M0GMK. And another one, with reference to the inquiries, I think by the build of the person from the CCTV footage, it was Santa in disguise, and that was Nigel 20NLK.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think who that was.
Can't see it myself. No, just very grainy picture. Anyway. Actually, nobody's been sitting in this seat, have they? Because it's not adjusted right. It's not in the right place or anything. Okay, just thought I'd ask. Bob G6PWS says he sent us a couple of pictures from his own collection. We've got so many cameras here tonight, I don't know which one to look at. With reference to... here we go. A couple of the pictures from his own collection. Here we are. Now, this is not me, Roger, so no complaints to me. Nobody understands that tapping is the legend for that. And this one's good, isn't it? All hams must abide by the rules of social distancing, 2 metres or 144 megs. Thank you very much for sharing that, Bob. I will just mention one other thing as well, in case some of you want to become members of NARC, but don't receive the newsletter. I don't think that applies to many, but we've had a couple of sort of random emails in the week, and I thought I'd mention it. The club is taking membership now for 2022. Now, this programme, NARC Live, goes out every Wednesday during the pandemic and will continue to do so. And we don't ask for people to join the club necessarily to watch it. That's why it's not an invitation-only thing where you have to log in with a particular email. Having said that, we've also have a lot of people who'd like to join the club. And because our expenses as a club are nothing like they are when we normally have to meet and rent a school and pay for all those other things, but we do have some costs like insurance and membership with the RSGB and things like that. We've reduced our membership to £5 a year per person. That's drastically reduced, and that will continue for as long as the club continues to meet regularly like this online. Having said that, when the club starts meeting again in person somewhere, at the school or whatever where we're renting, and we have then considerable expenses, the membership will go up. So I guess the message is, if you'd like to join Norfolk Amateur Radio Club, if you're already a member, all you need to do is to send £5 to the details that are all on the newsletter and also on the front of our website, which is at www.norfolkamateurradio.org. You can find out all the information about how to join there. Or if you've never joined before, you just need to fill in a simple form, which again you'll find a link to from the website, and that just gives us details about you, and then you can join as well for just £5. But just a warning really that at some point when the club starts meeting again physically, when we'll have much more expense, then the membership will go up for those people joining after that time. So if you want to join, this is a good time to do it. NorfolkAmateurRadio.org at the bottom of your screens now. And from me to Tammy with her little people.
Yep.
You promised us live little people.
I promised a homemade little people this week, so I have done it. So let me just find the right camera. So here you go. Here's the little people this week.
Oh, that is cool.
So it's, well, if I put the computer mouse next to it, you can see what size it is. So
you want me to? Why do you do what you normally do when we're out? Just say, have you got any money in your pocket?
Have you got any money in your pocket?
So you can tell what size it is. There you go, it's a 50p piece. I want it back.
Thanks. There you go. There's 50p piece.
It's quite small.
So it's just a little nativity scene, really. So I don't know how well you can...
Can you explain how you did it, though, Tammy? I mean, there's a mixture of things, isn't there?
It's
scratch built.
Well, it's completely scratch built except for the figures, which were pre-made. So the bottom is, you can buy like little pieces of wood that you can do stuff with, crafty things. So it's just 3 of those stuck together, and I had to do that because I wanted to put some electrics underneath. So I wanted to hide a 9-volt battery basically, so which is why it's the height that it is. So we've got a little, you can't see it very well, but there's a little fire effect in there glowing, and then obviously there's the star up here. So because I have access to signal feathers, these are signal feathers which I've soldered together, so don't tell the boss.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you not into model railways, which obviously aren't many people not into railways.
Oh, of course
obviously,
not.
but there might be a couple. On the top of some signals, you have a kind of what's called a route indicator, but it's the slang name for it is a feather, and it just shows the driver which direction the points are going, so he knows where he's going to go. Not that he can do much about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're the bits off our model.
Yeah, so I made those there. So yeah, and then this structure, the sort of stable, I got a little piece of thin MDF and just cut out the basic shape. Then I went outside and decided I'd pick a load of twigs, cut them all to the right size, glued them onto the MDF, and then I sort of covered it with like plaster, really, like plaster which had been covered in paint. So and this is just a brass tube up here, and because it was so thin, I had to use the brass tube as the common line for the electrics, because I could only fit one wire down it. So, and then yeah, they're bought little people that have been bought, and then just a few little stones to make the fire.
I can't resist.
I
know
with the K-Pox teddy bear stuff in.
Oh right, yes,
stuff down it.
So
there you go.
Diffuse
Homemade little people.
Yeah, and nothing to do with me. You did that all on your own.
I did.
But
yep.
can I? You'll kill me for this. But
What's
can you
that?
point out these two people here? These two shepherds. Are they two shepherds?
Two shepherds. I don't know how well. Oh, I'm going the wrong way here. It's difficult. So those two shepherds. Where are we?
You couldn't buy shepherds, isn't that right?
You couldn't buy shepherds, so I had to buy nuns, and I repainted them, so they're actually nuns. So don't tell anybody. If you look really closely, you can see they're sort of praying, and they've got their hands in there. Is it their habit they call it? Don't
yes.
They? So, but yeah, they've been repainted, so nobody will ever know unless you tell them.
Which you just have. Oh, lovely, Tammy. Well done. Thank you very much. Anyway, that's your little people.
That's the little people for this week.
Brilliant. Yeah. We didn't have time to do it just before Christmas. You wanted to do it, but
I did.
You did it over the Christmas period, didn't you?
Yeah.
So what have you been doing? Thank you very much for keeping in touch and for sharing those bits and pieces that we've shown at the beginning of this. As you know, we will continue doing this for some time, I figure. I was asked actually just yesterday by a phone call to us, when will the club be meeting again? Honestly, I can't tell you. We do kind of enjoy doing this, but it would be much nicer to have a room full of people and us all interacting like we would usually do. I'm sure most people would agree that. But at the moment, I don't see that in the near future. We haven't talked about that for some time. But, although in England, where we are, there aren't too many restrictions at the moment. I think that to meet would not be probably looked upon by many as being the favoured thing. So for the moment, at least, I guess for the next few months, probably we're going to continue with an online presence at some point. But to that person who called, and to others as well who are wondering, we're certainly not planning to do this forever. This isn't the future of Norfolk Amateur Radio Club, doing this every single week. However, we do hope that we're going to get together and have physical meetings at some point, let's hope, in 2022. Now we return to the competition, which we do every week, and we ask you, what on earth is this? So let's have a look at the current competition and ask, what on earth is this? Let's get the script out. We've had lots of replies this week. Amazing. Starting, and these are in the order that we received them. So Steve G3VA said, it's a tape guide for a sewing machine. Really?
Okay. Phil G4LPP says, this week it is the foot from a sewing machine.
Really?
Yep.
Barbara WA2KCL from Hyde Park in New York, who watches it from there. She says it has several feet and attaches to your sewing machine. There's
a theme going on here. Charlotte, which is soon to be Mrs. M0SYW, Sunny's other half, says, is it a sewing machine foot?
Right. Kev M0KKM. I'm sure he'll get this right. The latest object is at last a part for a sewing machine. Best guess is that it's a walking foot attachment that crazy women like my station manager uses when quilting. Quote unquote.
Paul G4ZBA, sewing machine foot presser, rolled hem foot. It just looks like random words.
Sewing machines. Colin M0GMK says, what on earth? It's a zigzag attachment for a sewing machine. I hope Nev, our sewing machine guru, will give a detailed explanation of how it functions.
Stuart Brooks says, is it some sort of extractor for pulling bike bottom brackets off or something similar?
Yeah, that's more like it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Stuart. Well done. I think that's... Well, we better carry on, I suppose, but that sounds much more like it to me.
Definitely.
Steve W for SLT stroke G8OCT. It's a sewing machine attachment. I think this one is called a ruffler. And he's the one who worked on sewing machines, if you remember from his letter.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Tom G8XQD, well, I recognise the sewing machine foot accessory straight away. I think it is a gathering attachment
Really?
or a ruffler, or maybe just a tape or hem feeder. I remember at the age of 3 trying to see how my mum's one worked.
Look what Nev has started. Well, funny enough, the next person's guess we received was from Nev M0NFY. He'll put some sense into this. This week's What on Earth is clearly an 00 gauge model train attachment. These come as a matched pair of add-ons, one fitted to either a flatbed truck or a rather more expensive postal wagon, and the other fixed to the trackside. Yeah, it allows the enthusiast to emulate a moving mail sack transfer. The mail sack, which isn't shown, sits on the large arm, and the height of which is adjusted with the knurled screw seam bottom left in the picture so that it matches the height of the trackside. As the train passes, the mail sack is grabbed by the trackside unit. Of course, the mail sack may not just contain letters, but also the body of a murdered rabbit. What can he mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Paul 2E0NXL says, I think that it is an old Singer sewing machine for ruffling the top of things like curtains, or if not a zigzag foot, I think for more the ruffled foot.
Back to those again, eh? Simon M0SIH says, yes, it's an attachment for a sewing machine to create zigzag stitches.
Peter M0VRA, so there must be something afoot. Could Nev M0NFY be involved? Also, after last week's OB, the repair shop is now viewed from a more informed perspective, although I could picture you wincing at the mention of train set.
It's true. Paul G3VPT says, I think it's part of a sewing machine, but not the simple basic one. Elizabeth tells me it's a walking foot for quilting.
Bruce G4Z, KZT. I think this week's mystery object is a foot attachment for a sewing machine. I would imagine at least one member will get it right. Haha, keep up the good work.
Tony M0TDK says, he's a smart guy, he won't get this wrong. I'm reasonably certain that this mystery item is a foot from a sewing machine. Unless it's a form of automated can opener.
Oh, it could be a can opener.
It could be that, couldn't it?
Couldn't it? Are we nearly there yet?
We are. I think so.
Mike G8EEY says this week's item is an overlock and presser foot for an old sewing machine, a zigzag bit.
Really? Well, I can now tell you that this object came from Nev M0NFY, and he says, firstly, it's not a sewing machine. Then he says, oh, I didn't read this bit. Okay, I lied. It is from a sewing machine.
Yep. It is a zigzag attachment.
How disappointed that is. I mean, now what are we going to talk about?
I know.
I was thinking it was from Model Railway. I was going to try and get one of those, as I often do on these
yeah, you
What on
like
Earth,
to buy those, don't you?
and put that on my Model Railway. Oh, well, never mind. Thank you very much, Nev, for all the entertainment that you provided for months and for everybody who entered your entertaining entries.
If we actually just go to Nev.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to just unmute yourself, Nev, and we'll just come to you, if I can find the right button.
We've got quite a few people watching from home now.
Nev, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I saw you holding something up there.
It is the object.
Oh,
I must admit, I saw, because you've sent us a YouTube clip as well, which I'll show in a moment, and that is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
well,
Because when I saw it on the picture, I thought it was quite
that's it.
large.
No, I think that's 00 gauge. I really do.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I've really enjoyed these past few weeks of making spoof entries.
What are we going to do now, though, Nev? I don't know. Anyway, we have got a little bit of VT here for a video for showing exactly what this thing does and what it looks like, because I'm sure everybody is dying to know, and I can't wait to find out. So Tammy's now going to play this out.
Yep, here
We'll
we
play
go.
a little bit of it anyway. There's
bit
quite a
of
long
this.
description, and if you're desperate to know at home, send me an email and I'll send you the link to the whole YouTube video which tells you exactly what this thing does.
The fork at the top hooks over the needle clamp and uses the up and down motion of the needle bar to move the foot from side to side. The screw at the back changes the width of the zigzag. Under the foot are grooves that grip the fabric and move it from side to side. The attachment replaces the presser foot. Make sure the fork hooks over the needle clamp.
I think
Refit the
there's
presser
another
foot
3
screw.
hours of this, so maybe not quite. But no, we're anyway. So welcome to the Norfolk Amateur Radio and Sewing Machine Club. Apparently, but thank you very much for sending that to us. We ought to. We've got a couple of other pictures, haven't we? That in case we needed any more persuading that this could be from a sewing machine, Bob G6PWS is also there at home. He sent us these pictures.
Well, I think Bob said, in case we need any pictures of sewing machines, he sent us a couple of
that's
pictures
it.
of sewing
Okay.
machines.
No, that is it. We're not inviting people now to send pictures of sewing machines,
No,
are
no,
we?
we're not. No.
No, saying that is probably the kiss of death, and they probably will send us lots of pictures.
Right, let's get on to this week. So here we go.
Exactly.
What on earth is this?
I think I know what that is. Okay, what on earth is this? Very topical of the moment. What on earth is this? As usual, please send your answers to us on that email address, radio@dcpmicro.com, by Wednesday at 3 p.m, absolute latest, but earlier if you can. Tell us what you think that is, and we'll reveal all next week.
Yeah. Ooh.
Thank you. A lot of fun. Okay, let's see what's happening at the club this week. Well, there's no GB2RS news this week. They have taken a little break. That'll be back in early January. On Monday, the 3rd of January, though, we have got a Monday Night Net at 7:30 on GB3NB with Dave G0ELJ hosting that. And at 8:30, the 80-metre CW Net on 3.543 megahertz. And then next Wednesday here on NARC Live at this time, we've got SDR without the maths. Understanding the technology behind SDR with Mike Richards, G4WNC. Now, if you've seen one of Mike's talks before, you'll know they're brilliant talks. They're animated. They explain things to the level that all of us can understand. And of course, most people would think that software-defined radio or SDR is full of maths, which indeed it is, but he's going to explain how it works and how you can do stuff yourself without all the worry of all the maths. That's Mike Richards next Wednesday here on NARC Live. And of course, don't forget to send us your news and your objects and things like that. And we can send you this card as well to anybody that you would like us to send this to. Just again, email us to radio@dcpmicro.com. This is our regular greetings card. Anybody who's not feeling very well, you'd like to send them a message from Norfolk Amateur Radio Club, we'll add your name to ours and send that club card. And actually, while we do that, I'd like to just mention this card, which came in too late for us to feature last week, Tammy. I don't know if we can go on camera one for a moment.
Yeah.
And I've just held up this. This is a lovely card, came from our colleagues and friends in the King's Lynn Amateur Radio Club, and they sent it to me, and I'm sorry that we couldn't show it. Merry Christmas from King's Lynn Amateur Radio Club. There's a guy there sitting there with Earth going to the wrong bit, I reckon. Let's hold it up there. The linen line.
I like his jumper, Home Sweet Home.
Oh yes, Home Sweet Home, yes. Anyway, very nice. Thank you very much indeed for Mike and the gang for sending us that card. So back to this evening. Now, this evening is an interactive event and is very much an informal event. I can see we've got, 12, 14 people joined us on Zoom, which is brilliant. Tammy, is it possible just to pop up the Zoom link invitation in case you've joined us a bit later? It is on our website, which is easier to click on and link to probably than doing this, but we can put this now on the screen for you. If you've already got Zoom on your device, whether it's a tablet or a computer, you can put in this Zoom ID and this password, and we'd love to see you. You don't have to be a club member, remember. We'd love to see you wherever you are. So say there are 14 people there at home we're going to have a chat to.
I think there's actually a couple more that haven't got video on.
Okay,
as well, so.
Good. And also have a little review of this year, if there's anything particularly you'd like to look back on that NARC or the club or NARC Live has done or anything like that as well. And we've got a few bits and pieces that Tammy and I have chosen, which we'll show you as we go through. But I think it's about time we talk to some of those guys at home. So let's go firstly and talk to Alan, G800, because you're first on my screen at least. Nice to see you, Alan. How are you doing? I think you'll need to unmute, by the way.
That's it.
That's it?
You got me. Yeah, no problems. Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year. And no, I've got no particular loves from the last year. I thought it was all very good. And particularly last week. I did enjoy last week's, but there we are. So that's all from me, David. Back to you, or BTU.
That's all right. Yeah, good to see you. How's your wife doing? I know she's just recently had some surgery, hasn't she?
4 weeks in, and we actually went out. We actually both went and walked the dog today for the first time in 4 weeks. So she is improving, but a little bit unsteady on her legs. I don't know if people know she's just had a hip replacement 4 weeks ago. So I've learned all sorts of new things in the last 4 weeks. I even know how to switch the washing machine on.
Oh dear. I'm surprised she's making such a rapid recovery in that case, Alan, maybe.
Well, she doesn't like the food, unfortunately.
Yes, of course. All right. Well, lovely. Thank you very much, Alan. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We'll do stay there anyway, obviously, on Zoom. And we're going to go to a few more people now who've appeared, which is brilliant. Tony, you're next on our little screen, I think. Tony M0TDK from G7URP. Felt like saying that like that. Strange.
Good evening, David. Good evening, Tammy. Good to see you all.
Lovely
Happy
to
New
see you
Year
as well.
and all that.
Yeah, and you.
And it's hard to look back and remember how long ago all this stuff happened, but I've enjoyed all of it. From little people. I'm not sure about the rabbit strangling. I think that was probably going a bit far. There are some suspects. But Norfolk police, as you know, are not terribly quick off the mark, so you may be all right for a while, rabbit strangler.
Well, I'm glad to have my seat back, that's for sure.
Yeah, the only other question, the sort of thing that springs to mind, is that beautiful little thing that Tammy demonstrated a little earlier. It looked rather edible. I'm just wondering whether that was really made of icing sugar and stuff.
If you'd like to try and eat it, that's entirely up to you. I wouldn't recommend it, though.
Well, I will follow your lead, Tammy. You take the first bite.
Yeah.
I think it was, did you say it was plaster and things that covered it, wasn't it?
It's like filler plaster stuff.
Yeah.
With
and then
paint in
painted
it.
up.
It's got
No,
paint
I
in
think
it.
it's chocolate and icing sugar, Tammy.
Well,
You should have thought of
you
that,
certainly
though.
try. Yeah, you could try that next time.
Maybe
Yeah.
a rabbit would have taken the bite out of it then.
Maybe.
All right. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Tony.
Well, good to see you, and thank you for all your hard work.
Pleasure. It's always a pleasure to do this. Thanks very much. Good to see you. Okay. Before we're going to go to people, everybody who's here has joined us online as well. And as we go around as well, by the way, we'd love, we are going to sit. Let's be honest and realistic here. I think that we're going to be doing this for a few more months, likely at least. So, and even when we do get to meeting, we're going to need guests. And as I have said this before, we have eaten through an awful lot of material, and guests and speakers and talks and everything else, much more than we normally would, because we have something most weeks. And in normal times, we'd only just have every other week or so at the club. So I'm going to have to appeal to you again. If you have a talk inside you in particular, or you maybe have an interesting life to share, you know, I've had a few people say to me, we'd love those getting to knows that we did. And it's simply because nobody has come forward and said they're happy for me to do a sort of an interview and a talk about how getting to know. You can do it as a presentation if you wish, but if you don't want to go through all that, we can do it as a simple interview between us and maybe scatter with a few pictures of things of your life. We'd really love to do those sort of things again. But also more formal talks about things. You know, they don't have to be polished and, you know, this is really for club members here. We're not going out to thousands and thousands of people. This is all about keeping Norfolk Amateur Radio Club people together. And if you've got a talk in you for maybe a project that you've made or a particular thing that you do with radio, you know, we'd love to hear from you. And it'll help us keep us going over the next few months at least. Okay, now before we go back to some of the people at home as well, I'd like to refer to an email which Steve G0KYA did send me when he looked back at this year. And he'd like us to particularly remember International Marconi Day, which was run from people's home stations this year on April the 24th. You may remember this traditional picture that we show here, which is from Caister-on-Sea, and was where one of the original Marconi stations was. And this is what happened in those weeks. Because we couldn't meet and physically do it together, we actually did it from people's homes, and we were allowed to do that with variation on the license. So Norfolk's radio hams managed to contact 923 other radio amateurs in 71 countries on International Marconi Day. NARC normally operates each year from Caister Lifeboat, but due to the COVID restrictions, the amateurs operated from their own home stations this year. Using the call GB0CMS and a mixture of Morse code, speech, SSB, and digital modes, FT8, the operation ran from midnight to midnight, and contacts were made with other radio amateurs across the UK, Europe, Asia, South America and North America. Notable contacts were also made with New Zealand, the Philippines, Ecuador, Dominican Republic, Panama, the Falkland Islands and Indonesia. Everyone pulled out the stops and were able to operate through the night with Chris G0DWV making 300 contacts to start us off. The rest of the event featured operations from Tony G0OOR, Gordon G3PXT, Malcolm G3PDH, Roger G3LDI, Jim G3YLA, Steve G0KYA, Phil G4LPP and Andy M0NKR. That's from Steve G0KY. That's amazing. 923 contacts made from people's homes, 71 countries in just 24 hours. So it's really, really very, very good. Thank you for sharing that with us, Steve. That's your highlight of the year from the club's activities. I've got quite a few, I suppose. A little look back, Tammy. I think ICNIRP was very important to us because it was worrying. Suddenly we all got an email from Ofcom, and we don't often get emails from Ofcom, and it was a bit of a worry what that was all going to be about. But hopefully with our EMC team and with Steve, you know, we're able to explain that, and everybody now hopefully is transmitting on over 110 megs has been able to do the tests and things that are needed to comply with the ICNIRP regulations. Also looking back, I think Laurie Margolis, for me, right back in the early part of the year, January, I think, G3UML, his remarkable story of how he made contact with the King of Jordan as a 20-year-old. He was only 20 and obviously not involved with the BBC and broadcasting as he is now. And he had, before he knew it, he had news crews and everything there. But he was making this important ham radio contact to find out what was really going on in the Falklands in that time. So that was something special. Anyway, we'll look back at some others later on that we maybe thought were highlights. Let's go now to Bob G6PWS down there in Hertfordshire. Bob, hello.
Yeah, nice and rainy Sandwich down here, no problems. Just been finishing off on my filter box, all done.
What is that? Oh, that's your filter.
Box.
Oh, good.
Yeah, all done. Unless you want me to open it up.
No, that's all right.
It's all there, ready to go in. Just finished it tonight. I only received the stuff this morning.
Oh,
I heard it from the horse's mouth, which is Alan's wife's daughter. Yes, he does know how to cook eggs. Yes, he does know how to cook bits and pieces. He's had to learn, and he does all the hoovering, and he's really good at it, they say. So yeah. But anyway, yeah. Very, very good show we've had. No problems at all. I completely enjoy myself every Wednesday evening, much to my wife's disgust, because she sits in the other room listening and watching her telly. I sit out here. I have to put the headphones on because otherwise, if I have my speakers, it disturbs her. So can't have that. Not when she's watching her programs. So yeah. Very good, very good. As I say, thoroughly enjoyed it. I've just paid my subscription again. Well, I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
So I'm still a member. So thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure.
I hope it carries on as long as we can.
Well, yeah, I know, and you're a great contributor as well to this program as well, with your cartoons and things like that. And hopefully, dare I mention that you're going to do a talk for us as well?
Yeah, I've just sent you the email. I'm just
you?
sending it with my PowerPoint presentations. They're all done.
Brilliant. Oh, lovely.
So just going to write now. There it is, gone. So that's it. So you can have a look, procure them, see what you like, and we'll go from there.
Well, it's just that we're starting to, and it's good. And if I may say as well, Bob, you're setting an example there, because you did pick up a few weeks ago now and said to us, well, actually, I think I could do a talk on this. And that's what we want. So if you've got a talk in you, not Bob now, but everybody else, we would love to hear from you, as I said. And it's something that we can help you as much or as little as you need to bring it to us, because it's I think they're very special when we have talks by club members, even though our obviously external guests are very good. But it's lovely when it's sort of club members talking to other club members. So thank you very much, Bob, and thanks again for your contributions to us.
No problem. You're quite welcome. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the rest of the club.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to them now. I don't know how many people we've got. We've probably got about 60 or so people between Facebook and then we've got about another, how many on here now? 4, 5, 16. So about 70 or 80 people are watching this, which is about our regular number of people. It's brilliant. Lovely to keep everybody together like this. Let's go to Malcolm now, G3PDH. I just want to say it like I'm on the radio. From G7URP. Back to you.
Yeah, is my sound on now?
Yeah, it's fine, yes. Sorry,
Yes, okay. Good evening to everybody on channel and on here as well on Zoom. I just wanted to say I hope you all had a nice Christmas and wish everybody a happy New Year. Christmas plans changed a little bit here in that I was going over to my daughters, but the granddaughters went down with COVID, so they're all now isolating. But anyway, my son was up here and with his wife, and we managed to razzle enough stuff together to make a Christmas dinner. So that was very nice. And it was funny, you mentioned earlier on about the W4 station mentioning about the Canaries. I was talking to Brian, 9J2BO today in Lusaka, and he was commenting on the Canaries and how bad they were doing this year. And he's been down there for 55 years. So obviously news travels far. But anyway, I hope that everyone has had a nice time, and wish to congratulate you and Tammy, of course, for all the work that you've been doing throughout the year. Very, very interesting programs. And I'm sure that everyone has really enjoyed them far and wide. I know that we seem to be gathering viewers from very long distances now, so that's great. So anyway, hopefully we will be able to meet before too long, and maybe things will improve in the next few months. And finally, just a comment to Steve, KYA, and maybe it might be worth looking again at the GB0 CMS. We might have to do the same again this coming year. You never know, in April. So back to you, David.
Thank you very much, Malcolm. Yeah, good to see you as always. And thanks for the comments and everything. As I said, though, it's we're happy to do this, but the hardest job, honestly, that we have is worrying about filling every week. So I don't want to labour it too much to you, but this really is important to us. So if you've got a talk or something like that, or you've seen a talk online, indeed, where we can maybe ask the guest to come and give the talk to our club, we would love to hear from you. Because we certainly, when we started this, as we said, we thought it would go on for a few months, but here we are, must be getting on for, I don't know, 20 months, 22 months later. It's quite a lot to fill. So please keep us having, either if you've got a talk inside you or you've seen a talk, or you know someone who could give a talk, then please let us know, because we're now looking obviously at 2022, and whether we meet when, let's be positive as well, when we do start meeting again, we'll still need talks like that, and we'll still be able to use those guests who we've booked through Skype, through Zoom, and all of the other things that we've now developed to do that experience quite well. We had already, for those of you who are not members of NARC or had never been to a club meeting, we'd already started using the technology to have some guests give us talks, which stopped them having to travel, whether they were from the other end of Britain or indeed from overseas. So we'd already started using it, but we've sort of enhanced it quite a lot now, and we can do quite a lot more than we did as well. So I still see quite a lot of our talks, even when we're able to meet, probably being done remotely, because it does mean that we can have anybody almost as a guest. So brilliant. Okay, who's next? Mike, M7 MCO. Aha! I think.
Yeah, I'm a pirate. Hello there, good to see you and hear from everybody here today. Well, it's been a funny old year, isn't it, really? And we're on the cusp of the new year. It's a strange combination of almost excitement as the prospects of things opening up and giving us opportunities which have been almost out of the question for the last 18 months, 2 years. I particularly think about friends and family, really. Probably a lot of you have got friends and family that live overseas, for instance. I've got a daughter that lives in Canada, and I've got a daughter that lives up north, as they say. And obviously, it's been sorely lacking in physical contact. I mean, yes, we've got Skype and we've got Zoom and telephones and emails and what have you, but it's getting up close and personal is what it's all about. So things are in the offing for the new year, but yet there's still that nagging down, and so it's a combination of yes, we might, but then maybe we won't, and so I'm a glass half full rather than empty. So I've got fingers crossed and just about everything else as well. And I'm looking forward to what hopefully the future will bring us. Opportunities for the club, opportunities for us as people in our personal lives. So I've got fingers crossed and hopefully all will go well. So anyway, that's enough from me. And back to you, David.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, it's good to be optimistic, isn't it? We have to be realistic too, but optimistic, absolutely, because it's not. And when this person phoned me literally a couple of nights ago, they did say if or when or if the club's going to meet again. Well, I can tell you that certainly as far as I'm concerned, as far as we're both concerned, the club will meet again one day. But when it's safe to do so, and when the majority of people feel comfortable about coming back. I think there are sort of measures, really. Obviously, safety comes absolutely first anyway, and any regulations that might be in place. But just when most people would feel comfortable at doing that. And we don't really know the exact time frame for that. But I'm with you, absolutely, Mike. Let's be optimistic and look forward to things being a bit better this year, hopefully. Already there's just a little bit of a glimpse of sunlight, I think, that maybe wasn't here last year when we were all at this time, I think, in sort of some kind of lockdown, weren't we? After Christmas.
Yep.
So brilliant. Okay, it was very hard to take you seriously altogether though with your Pirates top on. It reminded me of that. Looking back at 21, it was remember that American
the chap who had the cat on his face.
That's right. There was I don't know if you saw this on the news. I think we
put it on here.
We did cover it. We couldn't get it this quickly, but. There was somebody who was in a real. There were 3 or 4 people there was a real court case, all being done by Zoom, and this person had. I think he was using his wife's. He was a barrister, serious stuff. He was using his wife's computer, but he had that sort of mask thing that, a bit like Mike had, but he was a cat.
His whole head was a cat.
It was a cat, and he couldn't switch it off. And he just said, in real serious, looked at the camera and said, "Judge, I can assure you, I am not a cat." And said it in the absolute deadpan way, and it was so funny to see it. And they carried on and did
Yeah.
the court case with him like a cat. Anyway, I'm sure you know how to switch that off, Mike, and I would recommend it before you do anything serious yourself. Let's go now to Steve, G3VA. Haven't spoken to him for a while on here. Good to see you, Steve.
Evening, everybody. Yes, I've had a bit of COVID over the last week.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's now clear. I've had 4 days, or 5 days actually, with negative lateral flow tests. But I can tell you, if anybody who does get it, don't take a second PCR test, because it will show positive even if you're not, even if you've not got COVID still.
Really?
I had to ring up the COVID hotline this morning and tell them what my problems were, and they said, well, take the PCR test that you took last week as being the start of your 7 days, so or the start of your symptoms if you knew where the symptoms were. But I thought the symptoms were yellow card.
I mean, Steve, forgive us though, but what's most important, the question I'm dying to ask you, and I'm sure others at home as well, is how are you and how were you, when you got COVID, and how badly were you ill?
Well, not very badly at all, actually. It's just like a bad cold, really. And I'd already had a cold previous to this. I know where I got it from. I did a gig at a place in Alton Broad on the 18th, and it must have come from there, because I've not seen anybody else since or before then. So that's where it came from. But no, it was quite mild. I think I've got the vaccinations to thank for that. So yeah.
I was going to ask you. I mean, we don't want to be political here and NARC really, but nevertheless, it is quite relevant, I think, because if we think back a year and someone said they had COVID, I mean, I don't know about you, the first thing is you think, oh my goodness, how seriously ill are you, and how ill are you going to be, and are you going to end up going in hospital? Whereas now, it often seems when they talk about it on the radio and things, and like talking to you now, when you hear of someone with COVID, it isn't one that, for some reason, although to me, naturally, I want to ask, well, how are you? It's, oh, well, I've got to isolate for a few days, not actually, how are you? And so it does seem that vaccinations do seem to be working. And I think you're the first person actually I've talked to recently anyway, who's had COVID and been vaccinated and can tell us firsthand how it's been for you.
Well, basically, the first day or two, I did lateral flow test, and it didn't show up. It showed I caught it probably on a Saturday night, and it didn't show up until the Thursday after, and then a very faint second line. In fact, I did the test on Thursday morning, and I only left it for 15 minutes instead of the full half an hour, and I had to go off to do some other stuff, and I had a bit of a bad night where I actually thought it was Alfie giving me an allergy, and I thought I'll do another test in the morning, and I did one, and as I was doing that one, I noticed out in the corner of my eye that there was a second line on the test I'd done the day before, so that was a bit of a shock, really. So basically, give it half an hour. This is Alfie. I don't know if anybody's met Alfie yet.
We haven't seen him for live, have we?
There he is. Alfie, what's this?
He doesn't. Was it 39 kilos that he weighed? Is it?
Yeah, he's down to about 37 now, because he's been a bit worried. He came from a home where he wasn't treated too well, I don't think. So he's a bit shy, and he's only having one meal a day at the moment, where I think he had two before, according to his previous owner. But yeah, he's a great dog, really is a good dog. He's coming along leaps and bounds, as they say, mostly leaping up people when he meets them. Yeah, he's very, very friendly.
Well, I think if 39 kilos leapt up at me, I think that would probably almost have me over. So I guess you've got to be a bit careful of that. Yes.
Well, it has me over when he pulls suddenly, because he likes to meet other dogs as well.
Oh. Anyway, Steve, it's really good to see you. By the way, I should mention to people who don't know, and I know lots of people will know, but you play in a band. So I guess that when you talked about the gig that you went to, it was, you were actually working there.
We were, yeah. The place was heaving. The three of us who were playing were the only people wearing masks. And there was a lot of young people in there. When I say young, they're under 30. And I just don't think they realise what they're doing nowadays. We are actually playing on New Year's Eve as well, but that's a much smaller venue. And I'm
Good.
glad that I'm back to normal again now, and I'm clear of the COVID.
Well, I'm pleased, and I know everybody watching will be pleased as well, Steve. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and do take care.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year, and hopefully see you all soon.
Yeah,
Take
let's
care.
hope so.
Oh, by the way, thanks, Tammy and David, for all you've done during the year. I don't have a clip or anything that I think was special, because I think it was all very, very good. I can't think of a bad thing that happened at all. Especially liked Mark Stuckey last week. That was very, very good. It was sort of right up my street, that sort of thing. I do watch the Repair Shop all the time.
Yeah, he's a remarkable chap. When I went to see him in the late summer to sort of talk about if we could do something live and check out the technical side of things, he was very, he was telling me all about the other things, and if it had been in the summer, we probably could have gone to some other of his sort of little workshops and things to see other things. He is a remarkable chap, very, very versatile at all the things that he works on. There was some, particularly I remember some Philips tape recorders, cassette recorders, the early cassette recorder that would seem to be a classic, and he had lots of those that he'd refurbished. So yeah, really remarkable, and I thought a really good insight into how the TV program's made as well.
Yeah.
And from the feedback I got during the week, from people who thought that probably like me, like it was a bit set up maybe, and they could take their stuff home and do it and then come back and film a little bit more, and not at all. He said it's absolutely genuine what goes on, and very, very little can they do from home. It has to be there so that they can film it. So remarkable. Anyway, good to see you, Stephen. Do take care, and we're pleased you're on the mend.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Good. Right. Who's next? Richard, M6UES. If you can unmute, please, Richard, and we'll come to you.
Hello there, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Good to see you.
Yeah, and yourselves. Good to hear that we've got a COVID patient there who's actually not been too bad. It's good to hear that things are, as I said at the end of Mrs. Brown's Boys, those who watch that, I'm sure this will end eventually, and we will get back to something approaching normal. I certainly hope so. It's just a question of when, as you rightly say, and when it's safe to do so. And yeah, been a great year of what you've done for us, Tammy and David. Just like to add my vote of thanks and say, we really appreciate you've kept us all together here. It's been really good.
A pleasure. Anything particularly leap out from a memory of a talk or something that we did?
The recent one, Mark, it's actually quite funny. Anecdotally, I can tell you a story for a couple of minutes. I quite enjoyed Mark's talk last week, and I actually could have done with Mark or Tony here on Christmas Day afternoon. It was really quite funny, actually. I've got a 12 or 13-year-old plasma TV, which we watched the Queen's speech on, and the graphic froze on the screen right at the end of her speech, and it just completely froze. So I tried the old let's switch it off and back on again, switched it off okay, it wouldn't power back up again. So Christmas Day afternoon, at about 3:30, there was me and Peter and father-in-law on the floor with the back off a plasma telly, wondering if there could be an inline fuse somewhere that we could replace. Looked at it and I thought, this is beyond me. There's a switch mode power supply there, remembering David's and Tony's instructions not to even touch it with a barge pole. Put the back on and screwed it back together and just left it. Powered it up about 4 hours later and it was fine again, so goodness knows.
Really?
Maybe speech.
Yeah, oh good. I'm glad it had a happy ending, because those big old, the original plasmas.
The news television in the lounge, but hey ho, it's working again now. So I don't know what was wrong with that, but yeah, going back to the year. I quite enjoyed Mark's talk. Like I said, I love Paul Money's talks because I think he puts across in such a humorous way something that's quite interesting in a way that should bore you to tears, but doesn't, because he just makes it so interesting and so humorous. So I always look forward to his talks.
He really is. He believes it, and even when he's not presenting and sort of performing, if you like, and we talk to him at some, rehearsals or whatever, he's still as enthusiastic about anything that he does. Actually, he's a genuine character.
So that would just be my feedback on the year. And as I say, I've just really enjoyed being part of, not being able to be there in person, but just seeing what's going on. My only disappointment is I can't join in any of the Monday night nets because, I can't get NB out here in Thetford, even though I have tried in the past.
Right.
Did use Echo Link a couple of years ago. I don't think we do that anymore, do we?
I don't think that's switched on. It's something to do with the internet connection, I think. I'm not absolutely sure. Maybe someone who's watching. Mark was on here a little while ago, and so he may be able to update us. He's one of the repeater team. So when we get to Mark, maybe we'll be able to talk to him about it.
But
anyway,
but no, apart from nothing else to report.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see how things pan out, as you say, in the new year.
Absolutely. Well, good to see you, Richard. Thank you very much for taking part.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay. Let's see who's next. It's Sewing Machine Guru.
Mr. Sewing
It's his
Machine.
fault. It's his fault. Nev, we're coming to you again. You know what you've started here. It's the Norfolk Amateur Radio and Sewing Machine Club.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I've really been heartened by the way that so many people have latched onto the gag, which actually started, in all honesty, with what on earth is it? And I did think it was one of those little portable sewing machines.
Oh, that was the stapler thing, wasn't it? Without the stapler.
Oh, the stapler.
Yeah.
Made all the more fun by the fact that I'd recently recorded a film on the TV, and at the end of the film, they were showing the Ronco portable sewing machine.
Really? Oh.
Yes, it was amazing. But putting sewing machines to one side, I won't bore you with it because I'm sure many people don't want to know about sewing machines. It's been well, as the Chinese say, I've had an interesting year. So,
what is it? I don't want to lead you here but I did know that one thing you took part in, which you did enjoy a lot, was the fox hunts. I remember you saying something to me. I mean, whether that was because it was the club getting out and about or not, but you did enjoy that. You said.
I did. It's I'm not normally a competitive person, and I don't actually join the fox hunt with the intention of trying to win. Although I'm sure one day, by accident, I will. But yes, it's I'm not into DXing or making multiple QSOs or contesting and that sort of thing. It's just not my thing. But the fox hunt, it's a good excuse to get in the car and drive around the countryside, and having the joy of seeing people drive up really close behind, spot the antennas, and then back away again.
Yeah, it's a good bit of fun, isn't it? Well, I'll let you into
It's tremendous fun, and the work that you and Kevin and Tammy put in on the two that you televised. Oh, it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm really grateful to you for all the work you put into it.
Well, it was nice. It was nice as well for us, Nev, to actually bring it to people who wouldn't normally take part as well. I mean, that was the one thing. There's not many positives probably from COVID, but one of the things doing the club remotely like this, and doing something like that, which was the direction finding competition, we certainly enthused a lot of people to get involved. Maybe when it get in normal times, as it were, which we couldn't have otherwise brought that to people had we not have been doing this sort of outside broadcast that we tried. So we really enjoyed it, and in fact, hopefully some of you will stay long enough on this call tonight, because I think for me, probably it is the most challenging thing technically that we did, because it wasn't just one outside broadcast camera. There was one from the Fox and one from us mobile. But we love that challenge, because that's what we do as radio amateurs, isn't it? We love experimenting and challenging, and so I've chosen that as my favourite bit. So we've made a little bit of 7-minute video, a concentrate of the Fox hunt that we did, and we'll be showing that a little bit later. So hopefully that will bring back happy memories for you.
Good, it certainly will. One of the things that did, well, how they always say you don't spot the typing errors until you press send. I really wanted to send in a video of my progress as I hunted the fox. And I considered that people might think I was cheating if I used the laptop to do that. And it was only a couple of days afterwards I thought, I've got a dash cam that's recorded the entire thing.
Yes.
So it was all there.
Good.
But yes, tremendous fun.
Well,
can I just use this little slot to say a huge thanks to the one person who has been the staple and saviour of my life this year and the last couple of years, and that's the lovely XYL Lorna 2E0POI. I know she's watching in the other room, and I hope she's thoroughly embarrassed by that.
That's lovely.
But she has quite literally been a lifesaver for me this year.
I know you've had some health challenges, haven't you? And yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. Well done, Lorna, from all of us as well, for looking after this man. I mean, where would we be? And sewing machines, indeed. Where would they be without Nev?
Yep.
Well, I've only got 2 sewing machines. My sister's got about 6.
Yeah, well, maybe I won't be interviewing her anytime soon, but thanks for the offer. All right, Nev, lovely to see you.
All right, see you.
Take
Bye.
care of yourselves. Happy New Year. Bye, Lorna, as well. Who's next on the list there? Yeah, so as I mentioned, we will be, in a little while, we want to talk to everybody at home, but not let them have to hang around for too long. But towards the end of the programme, we will be showing you, as a little 7-minute clip, the bit of video, a sort of compilation that Tammy's put together of our little outside broadcast. So if you did miss it before, there's a good chance to see it again. Now, next from Nev is Jim Bacon, G3YLA. Jim, maybe you could unmute and it'd be lovely to talk to you.
Yeah. Hello, gang. Nice to see everybody. Happy New Year coming up, and hope you've all had a good Christmas. Lots of nice sort of family gathering things going on, so that's been good. Not a lot of radio. Had some moments with computers and rigs playing up, but I think the test case that we heard described earlier on about switching them off and on again is proving reliable.
I think there's a mug, isn't there, that you can get that or is it something like that for IT, isn't it? Have you tried switching it on and off again?
Yeah.
I think that's what it says on the mug.
Well, I think it's the win of technology over a lot of things. You have in some of these modern rigs very sophisticated software circuitry for testing voltages all around the place, and if it gets a bit of stray RF in, it thinks the whole thing is going to hell in a handcart, so it shuts everything down. And no matter how many times you reboot it, if you don't give it a long while to think about what it's done and spend some time on the naughty step, it reboots in its failed condition. So it was only after about 4 hours and starting to look at the glossy pages in Radcom, I suddenly thought, well, I'll give it one more go. And it came back to life.
Oh, good.
So that's what I've been playing with this afternoon. But just to say really what everybody else has said, these times are really incredibly difficult for social hobbies like ours where we have meetings. But because it's a social hobby where we all chat to each other on the radios, we're so much better off than a lot of groups. And I think these sessions that you and Tammy have run have really shown how that can work extremely well. And I don't think the club has suffered at all through it. I think it's strengthened because of what you've done, and because of people being prepared to come on and do talks remotely and things like that. It's all excellent stuff. Good to see Alan channeling his Aussie colours after they got the Ashes. Gonna have to have a word with you about that, sir.
Oh dear. All right, well, Jim, thank you very much. As I said before, we don't want too much praise for us, but we're trying to just keep everybody together. And if people like you can keep coming up with those talks as well for us, that's brilliant too. So
yeah, well, there's loads of people, as you said earlier on. There's loads of people in the club who've got good talks in them, and they're all going to be interesting, no matter what they might themselves think before they give one.
Absolutely.
So,
that's what I hope by plugging this enough tonight. Hopefully, we'll get people to give it a go. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Happy New Year.
You too. Cheers.
Cheers. Brilliant. Okay, let's now go to Roger, G3LDI, who's next. He's obviously back from his travels. Roger, hello.
You need to unmute, Roger.
Roger, sorry, you need to unmute. You've got your computer muted. He's not going to do it in Morse, is he? Oh God.
It's in the bottom left of your screen, Roger.
Without knowing your computer exactly.
Turn it off and on.
No, Roger, honestly, you are
Hang
muted.
on, I can probably ask you to unmute.
How's that? We just sent you a little message.
Yeah.
There
Hi, Roger.
I've been clicking on it for the last 5 minutes, but all I got was a little hand over it, and that was it.
Oh, how are you doing? You went away to your daughters, didn't you, for Christmas?
Yes, down south to Broxbourne and Loughton for Christmas, so not been here. But anyway, Happy New Year to everybody, and good to see so many on here tonight.
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank all the GB2CW volunteers we have in the area for their stalwart work through the year in keeping the Morse classes going. And it would be nice to see some more join those Morse classes, whether it be new licensees or youngsters or even the oldies. So that would be good. And also the same applies to the contesting. Although, of course, we won the CCs and also the Autumn Series. So NARC now have 2 trophies coming our way, which I assume will obviously be cardboard. So we've got some cardboard trophies coming along.
Well, good.
As for the talk, I don't know whether you've arranged that with Bob yet, but he hasn't got in touch with me.
I've just had an exchange in the last few days, Roger, just to try and book some things up. So yeah, I'll be setting that up, and I'll let you know with the date as well.
Well, you have to let me know if there's a date available for a start, because if you just want 2 talks a month, we've got.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you to sort of put forward. I mean, sometimes we'll do talks, sometimes we'll do more interactive things and things like that. So yeah, don't worry, I definitely won't cross dates or anything.
No, they should all be on the calendar anyway. But I've booked mostly till the end of May now. So
good. Yeah, that's good.
2 talks a month, that is. So if you want to put some extra ones in, that's up to you, of course.
Well, that's what I'm trying to encourage now, because that's why I said, although having 2 talks a month from which your good self sets up, that's what I'm trying to encourage. And people like Jim has just said it. You know, there's a lot of talent and a lot of interesting stories within the club, and I've
had volunteers coming forward to tell me.
Well, that's what I mean. So that's why I'm saying it, and that's from Roger as well, because between Roger and Tammy and I, we do set up all these weeks of what goes on. And I did say earlier, it's my biggest fear when I have sleepless nights about NARC Live. It's not about doing it. It's about what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? And okay, we come up with occasional things like Spring Watch and things like that.
I was going to say the same, actually. Winter Watch might be a good one to put in, and Spring Watch.
Yeah, we will.
They were very popular talks, weren't they?
Yeah, no, we will certainly do that as well. But we would like some other homegrown sort of entertainment, edutainment, or just talks from people I know, and people who've just got an interesting story. I'd love to do some more getting to knows. You know, I was looking back at the ones we did last year. We did Donard Dick Hogan in the club, and of course, poor, very sadly now silent key, but Steve Appleyard. What a wonderful life story that was.
Yeah. Some of the older people have got interesting stories to tell, haven't they? But I wrote my autobiography when I was 10. It's on a single-side A4 sheet.
Well, it would be on when you were 10, but now, are you putting yourself forward, Roger?
Oh no.
Oh well, I don't know. But you say that, but I mean, I don't know an awful lot about you, except that I know that you were not only a TV and radio repair engineer, but you played an awful lot in the band. I guess the music was a big part of your life.
Well, I ran my own band for 40 years. But,
exactly.
By the way. Anyway, I was just.
I'll contact you with some dates, Roger.
That was a joke, David. Really.
All right. Anyway, mate, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
To everybody. See you on the air on HF bands.
Cheers. Lovely job. All right. Next look who's there now. Stuart, take that last drag of your cigarette, Stuart, and let's come to you. Stuart M0JKB. I still want to do it from G7ERP. It seems crazy, isn't it? We're not on the radio. Stuart, hello. You need to unmute.
He looks like he's walking through the Arctic Circle.
Oh, yeah, what is he doing?
Again.
What is he doing? Is he on a train?
Right, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Jolly good. I'm just moving rooms, seeing watching TV.
Oh, right.
Oh, I see. Okay. You're losing Wi-Fi, though, a little bit. So be careful, because we've now got not very much at all on the screen.
Move nearer to it. Your internet connection is unstable, really.
I'm afraid we haven't got anything now. We've just got a
Right,
black
how are we
screen.
doing?
I'll tell you what, Stuart, we'll come back to you.
Oh, no,
there
he
you go.
is.
You're there now. No, you're not.
Maybe.
How's that?
Yep, there we go. We're there. We're there now.
I mean, before I could tell what
we're
brand
there.
of cigarette
Jolly
you
good.
were smoking, but I can't do that now. Anyway, good to see you, Stuart. How are you?
Yeah, I've just moved rooms because, as I said, Zena's watching the TV in the other room. I've got a sort of delay on here. Can you can hear me okay?
I can now, yep. Yep. You're a little bit staggered, though, I must admit. If you're nearer the router, it's not as good a video, I think, as we had before. But so what are your highlights of the year? What's the highlight for you? Was it, could it have been the one of the fox hunts, maybe?
Well, the highlight of the year, the highlights of the year was getting out. It was the fox hunts, the visit we had at Barford, the radio by the seaside, but we didn't actually get to, that we'd had hoped to. But it was basically getting out and meeting people from the club. And obviously, the Wednesday evening meetings, online meetings that we've had, the talks and everything, again, they have been the highlights. Obviously, getting out and meeting people again was good. But I also want to thank everybody who took part and has run the Monday night nets that have kept people in touch. Everybody who's helped everybody else out. There's Sonny and can't remember his name, the other chap.
Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Who went out and helped people. Paul, who went out and helped people put their antennas back up and even get antennas up. It's just been fantastic. The way the club has helped each other out. I know you don't want people to keep thanking you and Tammy, but we really must thank Tammy for being a non-committee member and giving up her time to do all this. It's been fantastic. You know, you said in your Christmas talk, speech, or whatever it was, the bit you put in the newsletter, you're the chairman of the club, you see it as your job. She's been by your side and helped you out throughout. I think we all ought to put our hands together and be support you throughout this, David.
Well, there you are, Tammy. There you are. Show everybody at home. I think you should show. I know your modesty would prevent, but anyway, thank you. I think you're right, Stuart.
Yeah.
I did say it in my message, so I won't repeat it all again.
Yeah, you do.
I do seriously. We have a lot of fun doing it.
She has supported you throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had a lot of fun doing it, and Tammy's enjoyed doing it, but she's not a committee member, and she's helped you and supported you throughout those hunts and been there at home, streaming it all through, and keeping the show going.
You're right. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Stuart. Thank you.
Thanks for that.
I'm going to drop
back to where the internet is better now.
That's right, because the internet really isn't very good, and we've got most of those words. But thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it. Do take care. Have a great Happy New Year, and to Zena too.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Lovely job. No, good to see Stuart again. Now we're going to go to Vic. That's someone I haven't spoken to for ages. G0FEI or N0FEI as he is in the States as well. Vic, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you fine, yeah.
Yeah, evening David, evening Tammy, evening to everyone on this evening. I wish you all a very happy new year.
Thank you. How have you been?
I haven't been too bad. Slowing down a little bit. Things are beginning to develop, ailments that I didn't have before. They're now creeping up on me. But I'd like to thank you for the Christmas card and the birthday card, David and Tammy and the club members. It was very nice there.
Yeah, you celebrated a big birthday, didn't you, just a little while ago?
Yeah, I was 80 last month, so I joined the octogenarians in the club, and there must be plenty of them now.
I think there's a few. Oh, well, it's really good, Vic. Thank you for joining us. I know, I mean, I remember you used to go to, I think, to America, didn't you, for in the colder months, rather, for the UK, to go over there. I guess you haven't been doing that in the last year or two.
That's right, David. I was scheduled to go 3 years ago, and it got cancelled, and I haven't been able to go since. So I haven't seen my son and my daughter for 3 years now, so that's a bit annoying. And I haven't done very much radio. 2 years ago, we had a storm, and my aerials came down, and I just wasn't fit enough to put it up again, so they laid there for months and months till I finally had to go. And then I noticed things were developing. I was finding I was getting very unsteady on my feet. Walking on uneven ground, I was quickly losing my balance. So I gave up and left it for a while, so I felt more confident. Okay, I won't hold it.
All right, well, thank you. And if you do need...
Thanks for all that you do for us.
That's a pleasure. Well, it's good to keep everybody connected. And if you do need a bit of help with those antennas, I know a man who can, and we're going to talk to him next, actually. So we'll maybe can help you. All right, so keep in touch. And maybe when the weather gets a bit better or something, or you feel like you need a bit of help with that, please let us know. That's what the club's all about, helping each other.
Oh, that's very kind. Yeah, I did see that thing with Sonny that he had on a while ago. But I'm always reluctant to ask for help. I don't know whether it's my generation or what. But we always seem to try to do it oneself. But I realise I can't do it anymore.
Well, that's the thing, Vic. I think we are all probably independent, and radio amateurs are practical people generally, and we're used to doing our own things. But, it comes a time in life, and, 80 is a very, very respectable age where you're just going to need a bit of help maybe. And if you do, I'd like to think you could come to the club, and between us we can give you some help. So don't be afraid to ask.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care. Lovely to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Vic. So as I mentioned, next on the list, it is Sunny, M0SYW.
Good evening, David. Good evening, Tammy. Good evening, everybody here. Good evening, those of you that are watching at home. A happy New Year, and I hope that the seasons of Christmas have brought everything that they needed to bring for you for this year. It was very touch and go. We were meant to be hosting this year, and my mother-in-law got COVID at the last minute notice.
No.
So she's okay. Vaccines are doing their jobs, same as Steve there. So and my brother had it as well. So my Christmas was rather quiet in the grand scheme of things. But hey ho, the show must go on, as we say. Obviously, I have to personally say my personal first highlight of the year was obviously engaging my beautiful fiance and wife to be over the next 14 days. That's obviously the thing for this year. Other than that, obviously, I made the decision earlier on in the year to not attend NARC social events in the fly. I made the decision that I wish to dedicate my services to the ham community far and wide. And Vic, no problems. If you need some help with your Florida installation, you can fly us out there and we'll come and help you with that. That's not a problem at all. I've just had the message from Paul saying he's willing to come and help with that, so that's not a problem.
There you go, Vic.
If your Yarmouth QTH needs a bit of help, we'll come and help with that as well, I'm sure. I will put the caveat on it that I'm not taking too many appointments for January at this stage because it's cold and I'm getting married and I'm having some time off for myself, as you can fully appreciate.
I like the way you did that. You suddenly got it onto an American gig. Well, I think we should do an outside broadcast from Florida.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think the membership might have something to say if I'm claiming Florida as travel expenses, but we'll see.
So too.
Mark is on here; he can authorise it now. It'll be fine. 2021 has been a funny year, David. Obviously you've had a reasonable amount of snippet content from myself. Obviously, myself and ZBA did a talk for you a few weeks ago, so I've been on here a reasonable amount, so I don't wish to hog it for much longer. just wish everybody the best for 2022, and we'll get back to something at some point once we know what's going on. Is all I can say.
That's all we can say at the moment. But we, at some point we will get back to meeting together as a club.
Yeah.
For
and
sure.
Best wishes, and for all of those that contacted me following my talk, I did get all of the emails, as you can appreciate, with the festive season and my pending marriage taking a precedent at the moment. That all of that's on the back foot. But please don't think that I've forgotten you for a moment, because I certainly haven't, and I will be picking that up after about the 20th of Jan ish. So yeah, thanks very much, David.
And best wishes from all of us in NARC. Thank you for everything you've done, and Paul. But of course, best wishes from all of us for you, for your marriage. I wasn't going to mention it unless you did, but you've told everybody now. So
yeah, no, thanks for that, David. And obviously, Charlotte's highlight of the year was definitely the bouquet of flowers from your good selves on the Fox Hunt.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she said to me, "Are you going to email that in? Because I want that to be on there." So
well, thank you.
Because we watched, we obviously watched last week's together. Which we do occasionally, but no. So she definitely wanted that on there. So that's obviously a highlight for her for this year. But it was really nice for her to be included on the Fox Hunt, and obviously the bouquet of flowers was greatly received. But yeah, thanks, David, and yeah, thanks for all the wishes and the claps and everything like that. Obviously, I will send a report in when I feel like typing after my wedding, David.
All right, lovely. Yeah, we look forward. You're going to send me some pictures as well, you said, aren't you?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah.
That'd be lovely. All right, all the best,
Thanks
Tony.
very much.
Thank
you too.
Cheers. There we go. I think we've almost. Oh no, we've got Paul now.
I'm not sure if Paul's got any audio though, because he's been connecting to the audio.
He's on his phone. I think it says he's connecting to audio. So we're going to try, and I think he's the last person to join who we haven't spoken to yet. So Paul, M1AFQ, that is, just in case.
No, it's been connecting.
No, okay. We can't hear you at the moment, I'm afraid, Paul. We can't. Can we hear Paul? No. We'll try and come back to you. We've got one other person who's just joined us now. He looks like he's on the Starship Enterprise. And that is. Oh no! Hang on. We can hear you now, Paul.
We've got Paul.
We can hear you, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. The reason is, David. Yeah. The reason is I was on my computer, and it wouldn't let me join.
Oh, right. Don't know why that would be.
I'm trying to catch up. So I've got it on my phone, and it worked. So and I haven't used it on the phone. Incidentally, David, I've used a different bank account that I used to use for you. So I think you'll find that's gone through now. Okay,
that's fine. That was just in case people wondering what that's all about, though. That's because you bought some filter bits. There's a bit of a problem with the payment, but that's not a problem. We posted it anyway, and I'm glad you got them okay. And don't worry about it. It won't break the bank, and we'll look out for it.
I'll just say, I don't know what happened last time. What's wrong with this damn thing? I don't know what happened last time, but
no, that's okay.
If it don't go through this time, let me know. We'll just do it again.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to it last time. I've got to be honest. I hadn't had a chance to have a good look at it, so I just sent it again on the one that I know I've used.
Okay. So, don't worry. Anyway, what's your highlight of 2021? Not necessarily just on on the NARC Live or whatever, but just in radio. Have you made any special contacts or anything in 2021?
I'll turn this one down. Hang on. No, I haven't done much at all, David, and this year I've done even less. I don't know why, but I'm hearing myself coming back. I don't know why.
Okay, but you got on the air and everything, hopefully, and you're keeping that Morse up?
Oh, because I'm on a different thing, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're watching another device, and if you're watching on BATC or something, there'll be a delay.
I keep having to practice with Malcolm.
Don't worry. Just look at the phone, because there's a delay, you see. There's quite a delay.
I haven't been on hardly at all, David.
No, okay.
I have been so ill.
I think I think, Paul,
And
you're
this is
listening
the same
to...
sort of thing like Paul had.
Okay.
But it's knocking the hell out of me, I'll tell you.
All right. Well, I think we've got a bit of a connection delay. Possibly you're watching the BATC or Facebook, I suspect, and that's giving you the 30-second or so delay. But don't worry, it's been really good to see you, and we wish you and yours a happy new year.
It's a love story that starts here Christmas
All right. A happy new year to you, Paul.
Yeah, and you too. To everybody, happy new year.
And a healthy one, a healthy one for you.
To you and Tammy for all that you've done for us over this last year.
Pleasure. That's a pleasure.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you. Good to see you, Paul. Now I think
Thank you, David.
That's a pleasure. Thanks, Paul. And now finally, I think we've got Mark on that spaceship. It does look like a spaceship that is there. Mark, can you unmute and let's have a chat with you?
Yeah, good evening. I'm mobile, so my spaceship is my car.
Oh, I see.
But I have stopped now, so I've just pulled in just to say a few words. Thanks again, David and Tammy, for the year. That's been good. I'm just going to promote the membership is renewals, etc. So all the information's up on the website. Thanks to all those who have renewed already. I do prefer BATC. Makes my life a lot easier, or PayPal. Just makes not having to visit the bank and pay a check-in, etc. is good. But do appreciate all the renewals we've had. The highlight of my year was not having to cook at Barford. So actually to see some of the events, so that was quite good. But hopefully we can get back to some sort of normality in the coming year.
Yes.
But I'll keep it short. I know you want to play a video, so and wish you seasonal greetings and happy New Year to everybody who's listening and watching. Cheers for now.
It's good. Thank you ever so much, Mark. It really does. When you play this back, it does look like you're on Enterprise, doesn't it? Something like that, with the controls up above and everything else. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks ever so much for coming to us on the phone, and thanks for all the work you do as well. I have to say, the committee hasn't got as much to do generally as it normally would, but the treasurer is still a very important part. There's still bills to pay. There's still things to manage. There's all the charity money and everything else. So we're really grateful. Thank you for all the work that you've done as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Cheers.
Cheers all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and the family as well. Thank you.
Taylor to Enterprise out.
I love it. Okay. Well, now we are nearly reaching the end of the programme. We've got we've got through an hour and a half, which is amazing, isn't it? We thought to just look at some of these messages, Tammy.
You've got two more yet, David.
Pardon?
You've got two more at the bottom of the screen.
No, they've already been on.
No, Tony hasn't. Nor has
Tony
M0ZAE.
No, I can't see them.
I think maybe they haven't.
Oh,
got
I
their
see. I'm
videos
very
on.
sorry. Have you got video on, Tony? And that's why there's no camera. That's why, Roger.
Okay, so if M0ZAE, if you want to switch your camera on, if you want to have a word
It may
with
just be
us.
they're watching.
And who else did you say? Tony? Yeah, Tony. You switch your video on.
It's M0SWO, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was here earlier.
Here's Henry. Let's have it. Oh, Henry, I'm sorry. We weren't ignoring you, but on our screen, we've got a slightly different screen because we're hosting this and we couldn't see you. But anyway, good evening.
Good evening, everybody, and that's okay. It's obviously my disguise is working.
I think you had your camera off probably, and that's why we didn't see a picture of you on our screen.
Don't worry. Like everybody else has said, thanks very much for what you and Tammy are doing. From my point of view, also thanks to Phil, who's helped me a lot with that horrible squeaking noise, and also Roger for organising it. Very much appreciated. We will get there sooner or later, one dot at a time.
Mm-hmm.
For me, yes, that fox hunt was the good thing. I would only suggest be careful what you wish for. In Norfolk, we've probably got pike and eel. Over in America, they've got alligators in their waterways. But last bit of the drive up to the actual fox itself, doing that in the middle of the night near a river in Norfolk
Yeah.
I would have thought I would have definitely turned around at that stage if I'd been there. Anyway, that's it.
You're right. It was a bit of a moment, wasn't it? Actually,
yeah.
I must admit, I did wonder, because I think Tammy was back in the studio here, and Kevin and I were out, and I had a Land Rover, and even I was a little bit nervous, and I knew it was safe to cross. So I do know what you mean, and the alligators, yeah, quite right. If we were in the Everglades or something like that, we wouldn't be doing it, would we?
Yeah. The other thing is, for me, the highlight is of what we're doing now. Zoom. It's a good feel alike of a real thing.
Can you turn this off?
And we've also got the huge advantage of having folk from afar.
Yes.
I'm 100 miles away from you at the moment, so therefore that's a good thing. And also the notion of get back to normal. I hope we don't get back to normal. We want a new normal. We need to have learned from this, not just repeat what we did before. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you very much, Henry. Good to see you. Cheers. Happy New Year. Brilliant. Okay, now I think we've got Tony Sword, and I think he's got his technical expert with him.
Yep.
I think. Yes. So let's if we can ask you to unmute, Tony, and your good lady there, I think. And let's meet you.
Unmute.
There you are.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Right. Well, first of all, something I ought to have said weeks and months ago. David and Tammy, thank you so much for keeping everything going. And thank you also for those who have helped you to produce really a fantastic programme throughout nearly 2 years. And I think one of the things that really impressed me were the original outside broadcasts that you organised and the technicalities that you introduced, and also some of the brilliant speakers we've had, particularly the last sort of 5 or 6 or more, and not only were they giving us great technical information, but fantastic lives they've all led, not entirely based on electronics or radio. And
I agree.
Think, really has been fantastic. It's no good talking to me. It's the big joke, as you know. I've had my license quite a time, but I'm afraid, apart from a dabble on VHF, I've not been on MF at all, and my main transmitters in its box at the moment. The new procedures, I've been battling with my aerial on my roof, which is for 2 meters, and I think I'm probably about to crack that and comply with my license. But really, apart from that, I have so enjoyed the meetings we've had. Like everyone else, I do miss the personal contact, but by God, you've held everything together, you two, plus those who have helped you in the background. And really, all I can say is I hope you all had a very good Christmas, despite COVID and everything else, and I wish you all a very happy and healthy new year. And so I say farewell for this year. Thanks all very much.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tony. I'm glad that it's brought it to you, even if you haven't got your radios quite set up as you'd like at the moment. Thank you very much. It's been good to see you and lots of other people joining us every week. As I said, that's what's made it really worthwhile for us. We're really grateful to all of you here. I don't know if we can just see a quick picture of everybody at home now, so that everybody who's not on Zoom or whatever can see all those people. They are really there, except Mark, who's back in his spaceship, and there's Paul as well. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us tonight. It's not quite goodbye yet, though, because we have just got a few look backs at the things we did, and I'm afraid, rather like several people said we did it safely. We really believe we did it as safe as possible, apart from staying literally in your house. And the few events that we did outside, when we got people together, not just with us, but just to see people socially distanced, meeting at things like the Barford Social things, were the personal highlights for me as well, because we are a club, and a club is based on people. And this is a picture of Barford. And we did get quite a lot of people that day, and we, of course we helped to raise lots of that money as well that we raised for each as well. So it was nice to do that. There's a lot of people there if you look, actually, and if you looked at that picture now, and hopefully if we were able to do one this year, you know, I don't think you'd be many different numbers of cars and vans. We were very, very pleased with how many people came out, and it is something, of course, being outside, that we could do as safely as anything could be, other than staying literally in your house. And as we said as well, the other thing, we did a radio by the seaside as well, Tammy, didn't we? And
We did.
these are some of the pictures from that. And I was thrilled to see so many people. That was the 5th of September this year, a lovely sunny day. We had great weather. Those sun shields were there for the sun rather than not for that. There's Nev and Lorna there, who you talked about earlier on as well. And yes, it's good to see all these people together. So that, for me, I must admit, but although we enjoy doing this every week, there's Andy and Laura. Look. It was just seeing people able to see each other again. That was really very, very nice. For us as well, because we don't go out very much at all either. There we are. That's Neil, I think, with his setup in his van. So that was the 5th of September. Remember, we left the radio by the seaside at West Runton until after the schools had gone back, because we felt that was probably about the safest time, and people could naturally socially distance as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the lovely Land Rover from Mike and Becky from King's Lynn Club there. So it was really good to see. What was your highlights, Tammy? I mean, I know you're not so much into the radio stuff really when we're not doing this. What were your highlights of the year?
Well, I agree with what Richard said earlier about Paul Money, because I love his talks, because I am into astronomy as well, and he is just a real character. And, you know, they're always great talks. But I have just put a few pictures together. A few of the highlights that I thought was always when we have like a spring watch or something like that, because just, you know, it shows you what you can do with just, you know, a basic telephone camera or some CCTV, and you can get some really great footage, and just the natural world and the natural beauty, you know, that we can see. And
those deers or something, aren't they?
yeah, that's our deer actually, that one.
Is it? Yeah, we saw him just this morning.
Yeah, he
wasn't
walked past the dining room window this morning.
Oh, we're having a breakfast,
Yeah.
Lovely to see, isn't it?
And they're just, you know,
look at
such
those.
a different variety of pictures, but it's all nature and all wonderful.
Well, spring is coming up, and even if we are meeting and when we meet, you know, I don't see why we can't do something like this occasionally as a little bit of a break from radio as well. So they were very, very special times, as you say, Tammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, for me, I think I've said really, I love the other thing I think I love is construction. So the things like Steve's G0KY, we again revisited his Enfed half-wave, again showing you how you can make a simple antenna in a little while. And of course that filter, who'd have thought for over 40 people would have made one of those filters as a result of Ian's talk a few weeks ago. So I love to see things like that as well, practical things for radio as well. Are we going to sign out, I think, today, aren't we, with this video?
We are, but we're
going to cover some of the
few messages
new
first.
messages.
With
That's
few
right.
people.
We've got looking on BATC. We've got people saying good evening. We've got something from John G8VPE, which is a bit obscure, I think, but
no,
he says
it was actually earlier. You say it, and
No.
it was about the
they're spies, shepherd spies.
shepherd spies. You were talking about the shepherds.
Oh,
and the
in
little,
your little thing.
the little
Okay,
people. Yeah.
good. Ricardo de Ponza says, thank you and a happy new year to you both. Well, that's to all of us, I'm sure, as well. Thank you very much, Ricardo, and to you. Let's go through some of the messages we've got on Facebook. Evening and best wishes to the new year, David, Tammy, and all club members who are watching. D from John, 2E0TWQ from Great Yarmouth in Norfolk. Nigel Lake says 2E0NLK. Good evening and happy new year to you as well. Paul McGee Fru's 2E0NXL. Good evening, everyone, and hope you had a great Christmas. And applause from John there. And Paul Burgess, Happy New Year to all from G3VPT. And Mike Mobbs, he says, I watched the Christmas 21 repair shop. Oh dear, to see a BR Class 4 264T handed back as an 064T, missing the front bogie. I know it came in without a front bogie, but Mike, G-A-E-E-Y. Yeah, I did notice that myself. But anyway, that was still a great programme when he did. And that the one on trains was last Christmas Eve, I think. The actual one, the repair shop. John Wade, M6JWP, says, hi everyone, best wishes for the new year. Nigel says, Sonny, you'll incorporate it in with your honeymoon.
I think that was the trip to
Florida. Oh, that was the trip to Florida. There we are, Sonny. There's an idea for you. If you can get Vic to sponsor you to do his aerials in Florida for your honeymoon. Paul Gunther says, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. Thanks for keeping us amused for nearly 2 years, David and Tammy. Paul McGee, happy new year, everyone. Oops. There we go. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope for a safe and healthy New Year. Thank you, David and Tammy, for lifting me up in my very down times a few months ago. Yeah, you had some difficult things there. Pleasure, Paul. And finally, from Simon, M0SIH, a happy and healthy New Year, everyone. Take care and stay safe in 2022. 73 from Simon, M0SIH. Oh, and Wolfgang, watching from Germany, I think. DL1BJV, happy New Year to all. Enjoy watching NARC live whenever I can. Many thanks to all involved. There we are. That is almost it from us, I think. We'd just like to...
Anybody at home wants to...
Oh yeah, anybody on our big Zoom call, if you'd like to do that, because we're going to finish with this video, a little sort of a compilation of video from our outside broadcast we did on the fox hunt in the summertime. Anybody at home who'd like to say anything, give us a frantic wave if you'd like to. Yeah, Richard would like to say something.
Just happy New Year to everybody. Yeah, here's the 2022, seeing the end of all this, and things getting back to normal.
All right, thank you, Richard. Anybody else? I think everybody else sort of kind of said, if we show everybody there. Oh, Tony wants to say something, I think?
Yep.
Maybe? Tony?
Oh, I managed to unmute it. Yes, I enjoyed you playing crazy golf, David. I mean, do you remember that brief clip?
I don't think David saw that because
I
did. That was while you were doing the Fox
Hunt broadcast.
So I don't think you saw it.
Did you really do a video when we were doing it with Mac and Phoebe?
No, I think it's when we were with James actually.
Oh right.
When the adults went crazy golfing, James and Lynn.
Now it's coming out. I find out. I mean, do you know what? Do you know what I found under this chair earlier today, Tony? I found some shavings of carrots. I have no idea how.
Well, if I were you, I would just make sure nobody sneaks up behind you when you're wearing your rabbit ears.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right, Tony, Happy New Year to you as well, and to everybody there at home. Let's have a wave. Oh, I think Steve, would you like to come back on, Steve?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I was very disappointed in the Christmas quiz this year. That you didn't have that bloke who couldn't count on this year.
He wasn't available this year.
That's that is the truth, actually. Yeah, we would love to have had him on. We did big him up and say we would love to have him, but he literally couldn't be there. I think he had a work commitment that he just couldn't do it. But he did help us last week, of course. I must shout out to Kevin, because on all the outside broadcasts, he's been a great cameraman and technical boffin. Between us, we seem to have managed it, and of course he was a key part of last week doing the outside broadcast from Mark's workshop. So but yeah, we did ask him though, Steve, honestly.
You had countdown, but you didn't have him. That's just not good enough.
No.
Well, we'll see. We're trying to do it a bit different as well this year, so all right.
Bye everybody,
take care of yourself. Lovely to see you. All right, I think that's almost it. Is it? Anybody waving? Do you want to come back? No, they're just shaking their head. Anybody like to come back to us? Wave your hands now. Vic, he wants to come back. He's got those. Maybe he's bought the tickets for Sunny.
Maybe.
So, can we put them on a two-way? If you unmute Vic, now we can hear you.
No, that's it, David. I just wanted to reiterate, which I think you've already mentioned it before, to thank Kevin for everything he does in the back room, supporting you both. That's all. Good night to all. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thanks, Vic. Oh, sorry, Sonny. That's it. That is it from us, I think. Now, thanks to everybody at home. Maybe we can just see a big group picture of them, Tammy, now as we wave goodbye. Goodbye. We'll see you in 2022.
Yep.
And for everybody else just watching at home, oh, there's Mark still. Is that from the Enterprise?
Yep, from the Enterprise, yep.
I haven't beamed him up yet. Thank you very much to all of you. We do wish you all a very happy New Year. Just to remind you, next week we've got SDR without the maths on our NARC Live next week at 7:30. But that's almost it from Tammy, M0TC and myself. We'd love to wish you a very happy New Year.
We would. Happy New Year.
And
we've got a little, well, it's about a 7-minute video. So if you want to stay and watch it, then, that's up to you.
And this is one of our highlights, something we enjoy doing.
Yeah, this is just a quick sort of snap together that I did like half an hour before the show started. So forgive my cuts, but it's just a quick, because we both thought really that the most thing that we did that was most involved this year was to actually do an outside broadcast, which was pretty scary, to be honest, because we just didn't know if anything was going to work, and I had to be here all on my own and do all the stuff, and then you're out and about.
We relied totally on the technology, actually. I mean, hopefully, and I think people like Jim, professionals, broadcasters, will say the same. The things that look easy aren't usually, because the work's gone in beforehand. But it was a very limited amount of rehearsing that we could do for this. And we had to have a thing called talkback, which all presenters and things have to have. But when Kevin and I were out and about in Norfolk, relying mainly on 4G and 3G mobile phone signals, both for the video signal coming to you and also for talkback, so that Tammy and us, we could be in direct contact to find out what was happening at the Fox as well, which was another outside broadcast kind of happening at the same time. It was quite technically challenging, but it's something that we love, or certainly I love. I think you got to love as well, didn't you, as a challenge, and I think we pulled it off. Hopefully you agree. Anyway, thank you again for all of your support for NARC Live up to now. We will enjoy entertaining you and bringing you lots of talks and things like that in 2022. But please let us know if you think that you can help in that way. We'll leave you then with this, which was our personal highlight of the year, and an extract from our friendly fox hunt that we did in July this year. Until 2022, from Tammy M0TC.
Goodbye.
And from me, David G7URP. Good night. Happy New Year. The idea of tonight is to let you in on the secrets of how fox hunters do their job, what this is all about. And for those of you just tuning in thinking, what's fox hunting all about? Well, it's not fox hunting. No animals are involved. And it's really all about direction finding, but they call it the fox hunting. Anyway, we're going to tell you about it a bit later. So this is our very first outside broadcast with NARC Live, and we hope you enjoy it. Now, I'm sure there's going to be lots of faces that you'll know. If you're a member of Norfolk Amateur Radio Club, you'll know lots of these people already. So let's first up, Stuart and Zena. Remind us of your team name tonight.
Perdida.
Okay.
Perdida. Team Perdida.
Spanish. And what does it mean?
I can't remember what it means, but you can Google it.
I thought you said it meant lost, didn't you?
Lost.
Okay, it means lost.
Well, that's what you told me earlier on. Anyway, Stuart, look, for everybody at home now, lots of people will never have done this before.
Okay.
So we want to know a little bit about how the system works.
Right, this basically a Yagi, but it's got a bridge in there, so hopefully it'll pick up the signal and give us a direction to where it goes.
So this really is a directional antenna.
That's it. And that's all measured out. I can't remember where I got the plans from now, but all the elements are a specific length for a direction finding piece of equipment.
Live, of those watching. Now, we've got another couple of people you'll recognise here as well. It won't surprise you to know that their team name is Summer, or Summer Wine, last of the Summer Wine. Bob and Paul, lovely to see you. We're just going to tell everybody at home now how this equipment works. So, Bob, what have you got here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just built it on the basis of the one, the original design.
DF100?
The DF100. And what I've done is put a meter with a circuit, which I got off the website of an American guy. And what it does is when you get the null, the needle will move to the left or the right. And if I move left, I expect the needle to go to the right. If it goes the other way around. If I move left, the needle goes left. That means the signal is coming from behind me instead of front of me. So it just would be that more guidance.
Right,
and I got the compass on here
yeah.
to get the bearing. So wherever I'm finish up aiming at, that gives me my bearing.
So this now round to Colin, and your wife Jenny's in the car as well. She's your other part of your team.
She is indeed. Yes, she's camera shy.
Right. Okay.
And
tell us what you've got here, because this looks a different sort of box.
Well,
I've never seen this before.
Basically, the setup is much the same as a handheld, but this is one that was built for orienteering by an Australian whose name I forget at the moment. He's call sign VK3YNG. And the advantage of this is that over the handheld, the AGC backs off on this, whereas you can get a lot of leveling out with a handheld,
right,
which gives you a very broad sweep. Whereas this one, the tone goes up and down, and if the signal gets too strong, it attenuates.
Okay. All right, now these are the bitteners. I'm just waiting for the boos to come through my earpiece. No, we can't hear those. But we're not proud. We love to see our friendly local club as well taking part in this pretty much every time we do a fox hunt. Are you going to reveal some of the secrets now on NARC Live, what this is, Alec?
Well, where the arrows most people use don't have a sense that's from front to back, or it's very, very, it's not very strong. But this has got quite a strong sense front to back. So I can tell you which direction it's that or that, if you see what I mean. But the...
So is this a sort of similar to the DF100 type, Doppler type system?
It's exactly the same as the 100, but it's got an additive, which has got a meter, because I'm partially deaf in one ear. It's got a meter to tell me the null instead of hearing. And it's that meter that actually gives us the sense front or back. But,
this is a beautiful evening. We couldn't have picked a better evening to do this sort of thing. If it would be Team Wood Rain, I'm not sure how we'd have done it. Sorry, your name again, sorry? Richard as well. And what was your team called again? I love this.
Wrong direction.
Wrong direction. Are you hearing all this, by the way, Tammy? I don't know if I'm talking to nobody here.
Yes, we're still here.
We're still here, though. Jolly good. All right, well, now, Ben and Richard, they've got their team with equipment here. Now, this looks like maybe a similar sort of DF100 type design.
It is a DF100.
Okay.
I do even believe it was bought from yourself.
It could well be from the club.
And assembled.
Here. Just for right, Nev and David here. What is your team name?
Oh no, what's the team name? Left behind or
left behind?
No, left last.
Left last. Okay, brilliant. I know you want to get started, but there's not a race against time, as I've said before.
Okay.
But can you just quickly explain to everybody at home watching what your system is?
Okay, well, there's a laptop which gives us a map showing which direction the fox is in. Down here where you can't see it, I've got an FT817 and an RDF42.
Okay, and the RDF42, that's different to anybody else has got at the moment.
Nobody else has got the Doppler unit from...
Not here. Right? This is the one from Holland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you can't go yet. I'm sorry about that. It's taken a long time to get recipe. This is team. Remind me your name again of team. What was it? Destruction Crew. How could I forget? We've got Paul and we've got Sonny and we've got Charlotte, his new fiancée. Can I look at that hand? Look at that hand. You're going to see that in a bit as well. Lovely to see you all. Just tell us what sort of system you're running tonight.
Ramsey DDF1. So we've got the Ramsey DDF1.
The Ramsey DDF1. That's a kit that's no longer available, I believe.
No, I think I got the very last one from Ramsey after a copious amounts of emails. I think I managed to get the very last one in the stores in the States. So.
And where is the main box?
It's in the middle here.
Just down here. Can we just have a look at that? Evan, have you got the... We know you're itching to get away.
It's the box. Giving us arrow indications to where we think we're going.
All right. Who else? James. We haven't really spoken, actually properly interviewed James. Now, he is a sort of leader of the Foxes, I guess. This is all your gear and things that you've put on here. Let's have a look at some of the equipment, actually, James. Obviously, being the Fox, you haven't got to have a lot of technology except a radio, really. So what have you got here?
Well, mast, obviously connected to the side of the car. So I wasn't too sure whether we have the room to actually fit it down into the ground as normal. It's looking a mess of cables down there at the moment, as you can see, because obviously we dropped the mast down to give people a weaker signal as they get closer. So we're just packing up at the moment. Inside the car, obviously, We've got a laptop there, which we could actually do our Zoom connection. Below that, I was got a Facebook link. And Katie was obviously on the tripod seeing the people coming in. So I think it worked very well, actually.
Well, I hope it did. I guess the people at home, our viewers at home, they're the ones who've been watching it, and they'll be the ultimate judges or not. Yeah. But maybe let us know if this has been successful or not.